the Member Minute. My name's Jeff Niemeier. I'm a candidate for Veridian's Board of Directors for 2023, and I thought it'd be a great idea to interview some members for Veridian Credit Union and talk about their experiences with the credit union, why they went with the credit union, and what their likes and dislikes aren't. So our first guest this week is a friend of mine, Shawn Smith. And say hi, Shawn.
Hi, Shawn.
Hi, Shawn. I knew you were going to say that. But Shawn's got a really great and interesting story that's kind of non-traditional. So, Shawn, tell us how you got introduced to Veridian Credit Union.
All right, Jeff. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's always good to help out a fellow friend and whatnot. But my story, it's not. I don't think it's unique, but it's my story nonetheless. I first got introduced to Veridian Credit Union back in the 80s when it was the John Deere Community Credit Union. My dad worked at Deere's. He's now retired from Deere's, but that's how I got my foot in the door. At like right out of school, I joined the Army and I'm now retired from the Army, but I've lived all over the world, Germany, Ireland, Korea, bad places, fun places. And I've always stuck with now Veridian. It started off by when I was first gone at a real young age, just my parents could have access to my account if need be, on my behalf while I was overseas. And as things, grew as far as me maturing, financial awareness, improving with age, or birthday cake, as I like to put it. And Veridian has grown as well. For me, it's kind of like the go-to financial institution, because for nothing else, out of convenience. That they've helped me with all my financial needs, with the exception of home mortgaging, because I don't live within the state of Iowa. Veridian won't entertain doing a mortgage. But other than that, they've helped me with auto loans, RV loans, personal loans, refinancing loans, and I've always used them with direct deposit. But now I think this is probably going, I don't know what heck, I don't know when it started, but you can also let's say if I have a check, I now live in South Indiana. I have a check, I want to deposit it into my account. Well, there's no branch, nearby, but I can use the Veridian online app, and all I have to do is endorse my check on the back, snap a picture of the front and the back, and it automatically uploads to Veridian. If the deposit is made, I believe before 2 p.m. Central Time, funds will automatically be put into my account. So it's pretty convenient.
Yeah, so let me get this straight. You became a member when it was John Deere back in the 80s, and you stayed with Veridian through a 20 years of being in the Army, a career in the Army, and now you're retired and you live in Indiana. So you're not even really close to any of our branches or any of the locations, but yet you've stayed with Veridian, and it's been convenient because now, obviously, with the internet, you can bank online. And with the exception of them not being able to do a mortgage, it's worked for you, which again, I think that's very interesting that you're not even in their footprint, so to speak, but you've stayed with them and it's worked out great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Overall, I've had a great experience with Veridian. Customer service has been really great. And even if Veridian makes a mistake, as we all do, I had an incident, and I won't get into the weeds, but they owned their mistake, and it was it was a little bit frustrating, but they owned it, and they made it right. Great people, down to earth. And I guess that's probably why I like Veridian as well, because I was born and raised in Iowa. I don't live in Iowa anymore. But it's still nice to have those wholesome values, which I think Veridian embraces as well.
Yeah, and of course you won $50 last year at the
That's
annual
right.
meeting, right?
That's right. I
Which
did. I forgot about that.
which was pretty awesome. So you were online to see how the results went last year, and of course I don't know if they're going to do it again this year, but I'm assuming they'll have something. But you won $50 for being online and listening to the annual meeting, because I think participation, and that's kind of my go-to thing, less than 0.5% of the membership actually voted for their board of directors and for the leadership that runs the credit union. And I think that number needs to be much higher. So for you
Absolutely.
to be online and listening to the annual meeting, I want to thank you for that. And I appreciate that. Um, and of course, I'm sure, you probably are finding out more about Veridian as well, just by being engaged.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's you either don't know or you don't care. I try to know. And once again, I think it comes with birthday cake as we mature and develop maybe more awareness of our financial standing. I always like to be involved to try to keep my finger on the pulse, as I say. Which is another cool thing with Veridian on their online app. Like I can monitor my my credit score, and I do that religiously. In all fairness, I probably check my accounts at least 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening. Just make sure that everything's going smooth.
Right. And as you know, I'm a big advocate of financial literacy, knowing what your FICO score is, having a good FICO score, having good financial awareness, and being responsible with your finances overall. And that's obviously an interest of mine, and why I watch my credit score too. I watch my FICOs, and obviously when you're going to get a loan, you want to be in the best position possible so that your credit union can say yes. So,
Correct.
yeah, boy, we covered a lot of topics right there just in
We
that
did.
short amount of time. How did it work when you said, like, let's just say when you were in Germany, you wanted to set it up originally so that maybe your parents could help you if you were gone, but I'm assuming it was all direct deposit, because back in those days you didn't have the internet, you didn't have apps, you didn't have cell phones and things of that sort. How did you deal with that, say, when you were overseas?
Okay, well, in all fairness, when I was overseas in Germany, that was from with the Army from 1989 to 1992. I still had my account set up there, but back then we didn't have direct deposit. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so I still maintained an account, but like initially in Germany, I used one like a local branch, like sponsored by the Army. I believe it was Community Bank. But I used them because back then we would go to the paymaster and we would either get cash or they'd issue us a check, and then we would cash it right there.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah,
but
back there, obviously, yeah. I'm a Navy Federal, USAA, things of that sort, and there's ones that are there on the military base that might be a little more convenient, but you maintained an account there, and probably use that as a secondary account or a backup, so that you had your ties here back in Iowa.
yeah,
So, and they were, like I said, listed on the account probably as well as a secondary signer, so that if there was any issues, you could take care of it, but you had kind of
absolutely
your home base.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Um, anything else that any downsides? You keep telling me all the sunshine. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
obviously there's might be some issues from being out of state and out of touch. And I know you told me a story that when you come back to Iowa to visit families, you kind of stop in. You kind of stop in and say hi, right? And see the
oh,
branches.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll go. Well, I'm married now, and well, heck, I think the last time I just got some paperwork set up. Just trying to be proactive instead of reactive. Did paperwork. I think it was called a POD, payable upon death. So basically, my wife, once she becomes my widow, she can have access to my accounts.
Right. Right.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, but I've for the most part, I haven't had any issues with Veridian. And the one issue that I did have, they owned, and they made it right. And I mean, nobody's perfect, and it's unrealistic to expect anyone, be it a financial institution or otherwise, to be perfect. But what I appreciated was that they identified their fault, and that they made right of their mistake. And I mean, I don't think you can ask for anything else.
Well, good. I'm glad they were able to resolve that for you and help you out and get it taken care of in a timely fashion, which I think everybody would expect and appreciate as well. So, all right, Shawn, I think that's it. I mean, that was probably 10 minutes, but you gave your story, and I'm glad that you have been a Veridian member for all of these years and supporting not only Eastern Iowa, but it's been able to. They're adding value, and of course you're just maintaining your membership and banking with them as well, and giving back to the membership as a whole. So thank you, and thank you for your service, and we'll probably end it right here.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you for yours.
Thank you, sir.
Being in the Marine Reserves or the Marine Corps Reserves, and I want to wish you the best of luck on this upcoming election. I think you're the man.
All right. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your support. So those of you out there, voting begins June 20th to July 20th. And so it's online voting. It's an e-vote. You can go to Veridian Credit Union or veridiancu.org/election. And you have to be the primary account holder. And I believe you have to have your account number. So we're going to post a video on exactly how the voting, how to vote. There's one from last year out there as well that you can see. The one difference from this year as opposed to last year, they created a new opening called an associate. So board of directors associate for all of the new people that have not been a board of directors as of yet. And the reason they do that is because you have to go through some mandatory training, because they obviously want to make sure that if you're going to be a voting member on the board of directors, that you have some knowledge and insight. And it's very similar to, I spent 24 months in a federal grand jury doing indictments. And as I was actually the chair, and when you do that, it takes a while to kind of get their feet underneath you, right? Because you're trying to learn the system, you're trying to figure everything out. They're bringing all of these caseloads to you, and they send you through some basic training there as well to get you going. And of course, after about 6 months into it, now you start to feel competent. Now you start to feel like you understand the process, how it works, what's going on. So what Veridian's done this year is they have existing board of directors that are voting to, I think it's either a yes or no, up or down vote to stay in. And then there's 3 openings for associate director positions, and I'm a candidate for one of those 3 openings.
Absolutely.
So please consider voting for Jeff Niemeier, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. Thank you, Shawn.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Best of luck to you, buddy.